In late 1934, 21-year-old Amrita Sher-Gil returned to India, moving from the artistic centers of Europe back into this specific visual reality. She arrived with an elite academic pedigree, having spent years mastering the techniques of European realism at this classical institution, the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. But her return sparked an immediate internal conflict. She felt a growing urge to reject the purely Western frameworks she had just perfected, effectively dissolving her rigid training to find something more authentic. At the time, the Indian art scene was caught between colonial realism and traditional styles. Sher-Gil saw an opening to invent a modern language that could capture what she called Indian reality. The first major painting she completed after her return was a 1935 oil-on canvas titled 3 Girls. This composition marked the definitive point where she began to pivot, applying a modern visual vocabulary to the quiet introspection of Indian life.
To see why she was able to look at India differently, we have to look at her origins in Budapest. She was the daughter of a Punjabi Sikh aristocrat and scholar and a Hungarian Jewish opera singer. This privileged cosmopolitan upbringing made her an outsider-insider in both worlds, never fully bound by the expectations of either European or Indian society. This cultural duality allowed her to view Indian subjects with a unique sensitivity, focusing on their psychological depth rather than the stylized or colonial perspectives common at the time. When Sher-Gil moved away from this traditional studio environment, her style underwent a technical transformation. In 3 Girls, she abandoned academic 3D perspective for bold, flat planes and expressive lines. This color palette chart shows the influence of Paul Gauguin. Moving away from realism, she used rich, muted tones, prioritizing mood and emotion over literal detail. Look at the background, or rather, the lack of one. Sher-Gil deliberately minimized the setting. By removing the context of a room or a landscape, the viewer is forced to engage only with the figures. Each face captures a specific sense of female pensiveness and silent endurance, showing the women as emotionally withdrawn despite their physical proximity. She refused to idealize these women for the viewer's benefit. Instead, she painted them with a psychological depth that acknowledged their shared, unspoken reality. By treating Indian subjects with the techniques of modernism, Sher-Gil successfully integrated her European education with her Indian identity. Initially, conventional collectors were hesitant. The work's radical departure from the standard decorative styles of the era made it difficult for some to embrace. That changed in 1937, when 3 Girls won the gold medal at the Bombay Art Society, marking its official recognition as a landmark of modern art. Sadly, Amrita Sher-Gil's career was tragically brief. She died suddenly in Lahore in 1941, at only 28 years of age. Despite her age, she left behind an experientially rich body of work that explored nearly every facet of the human experience. Today, much of that legacy is preserved here, at the National Gallery of Modern Art in New Delhi. Her work continues to be the subject of major exhibitions, studied by audiences who see her as a foundational pillar of the Indian modern movement. In the single canvas of 3 Girls, Sher-Gil authored a new visual vocabulary, one that allowed Indian art to finally speak for itself.